Coming up on Mountain News this morning, the president-elect celebrated in New York as top cabinet picks work to sway Capitol Hill. Plus, officials are calling on the United States Postal Service to reform the way it does business.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. Thanks for joining us. The time is 5:59 right now. We're inching up to 6 o'clock. Today is December 6th. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it is a cold Friday morning, but you know, better is ahead, and that's what we have to keep our eye on, you know?
Yes, exactly. You got to keep your eye on the prize, and that's those mid to upper 50s that we'll see into your next week. But unfortunately, we do have to get through today first as we're looking at those temperatures out the door. Quite chilly. We're looking in the teens, with some places feels like in those upper single digits. So definitely something to be looking out for this morning. Wear your coat, gloves, whatever you need to do to stay warm for today. And our high temperatures will still be cold as we're under the freezing mark in a couple of cities in our area. 32 here in Hazard, 30 in Clintonwood, 31 in Grundy and Logan. And Wise, unfortunately, is in the upper 20s at 28 degrees for that high temperature. We are watching on satellite and radar as some clouds are moving through the area, but once they've moved past, we're looking at a sunny sky. So that is something to be looking forward to today as you are finishing up your Friday as well and going into your Saturday. Next 12 hours, though, will be nice and clear skies. Temperatures will be making itself just a little bit warmer, hitting that high around that 3 o'clock mark. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. President-elect Trump was back in New York this morning following a warm welcome last night, honored with an award by Fox News. But one of the network's biggest names is still working to win over Republican senators, as Pete Hegseth fights to be confirmed as the next Secretary of Defense amid reports of multiple personal scandals. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
President-elect Donald Trump back before a friendly crowd in New York.
This is quite a group. I have so many friends sitting right here.
Presented Thursday night with a Patriot Award at an event hosted by Fox Nation. But one of the network's biggest names, Pete Hegseth, Trump's pick for defense secretary, has been the focus on Capitol Hill.
We're fighting, we're ready to go.
The 44-year-old combat vet has denied allegations he committed sexual assault, struggled with alcohol, and mismanaged 2 nonprofits, though he did offer this.
I'm a different man than I was years ago, and that's a redemption story that I think a lot of Americans appreciate.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy also stopped by Capitol Hill, tapped to lead Trump's newly created Department of Government Efficiency, promising to cut trillions of dollars from federal agencies and programs. The billionaires met with House Speaker Mike Johnson.
Government is too big, it does too many things, and it does almost nothing well. And the taxpayers deserve better.
The plans include large-scale layoffs of federal workers. Musk has called them fake jobs.
Now, unfortunately, that's sometimes what you get when you have someone from the business world coming in with a mandate to just start chopping.
Questions remain whether Congress will approve any changes. Jared Hill, CBS News.
CBS News has also learned that President Biden is considering issuing preemptive pardons for a number of White House allies and other officials who are also some of Trump's biggest critics. The acting head of the Secret Service says disciplinary measures are being taken in the wake of the July assassination attempt of President-elect Donald Trump. Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe testified before the House task force looking into the assassination attempt that left 1 person dead and 3 people, including Trump, injured. Rowe says failures by Secret Service employees ahead of the rally warrant disciplinary action.
The quality of the advance work and preparation for the Butler Farm Show visit absolutely did not meet the expected standards of this agency. Let me be clear. There will be accountability, and that accountability is occurring.
Rowe also says he has made changes at the agency to ensure similar failures do not happen again, including expanding the use of drones at venues. It is being called one of the largest cybersecurity hacks in history. U.S. security officials believe Chinese state hackers breached at least 8 U.S. telecommunications companies, hitting the nation's largest wireless carriers, stealing metadata, and eavesdropping on politicians. Officials say they have still not evicted hackers from the phone networks. They are encouraging people to use encrypted messaging apps, technology like WhatsApp, Google Messages, and iMessage. It has been 8 months since lawmakers put the Postmaster General on notice to fix the U.S.'s broken mail system. Yesterday, they looked to collect on those promises. The head of the Postal Service says they are doing everything they can to improve productivity. The Postal Service lost almost $9 billion in The U.S. Postal Service lost almost $90 billion and was about to run out of cash before year's end. Senator Rand Paul, who believes the Postal Service should be privatized, did not give his stamp of approval on the excuses.
They were losing $1 billion a quarter. Now they're losing $2 billion a quarter. Only in Washington can someone point to losing $2 billion a quarter as a success.
The hearing comes 1 week after the USPS released its election analysis showing they processed nearly 100 million ballots during this year's general election. Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch announced Wednesday he is recusing himself from a case. It involves an 88-mile-long railway line that connects parts of Utah to Colorado. The case deals with the extent of an environmental review of the project by the U.S. Surface Transportation Board. It comes after Democrats pointed out Denver billionaire Philip Anschutz could have a financial interest in the outcome of the case. He reportedly lobbied the White House on Gorsuch's behalf for U.S. Court of Appeals judgeship several years ago. House Republicans voted Thursday to block the release of the long-awaited Ethics Committee report of allegations against former Congressman Matt Gaetz. Democrats had pushed the resolution, which would have required for the report to be publicly released, but now the matter of releasing the report returns to the Ethics Committee, and it is unknown if it will ever be released. Only one Republican, Congressman Tom McClintock, voted with Democrats. Gaetz has denied any wrongdoings. The Kentucky Senate recently announced the 2025 committee chairs, vice chairs, and co-chairs. 2 southeastern Kentucky natives are leading a critical committee, the Judicial Committee, for the 2025 legislative session. Senator Brandon Storm of London will be the chair, and Senator Philip Wheeler will continue serving as vice chair. The 2 are practicing attorneys and say they have worked together in the past and look forward to what's ahead.
Thankfully, I have wonderful colleagues that realize that a successful Kentucky is a Kentucky that is successful together.
I think we've got a wonderful committee staff. I've known them for years, worked with them on several really good pieces of legislation.
Senator Storm will continue to serve as the vice chair of the Senate Transportation Committee as well as co-chair of the Juvenile Justice Oversight Council. Senator Wheeler was also named as chair of Economic Development, Tourism, and Labor. On Thursday, a federal judge rejected a plea agreement between aerospace giant Boeing and the U.S. government. The company said it would plead guilty to deceiving the Federal Aviation Administration ahead of 2 fatal 737 MAX crashes. The judge's rejection cited problems with the selection process for an independent monitor required in the plea deal to oversee safety and quality improvements at Boeing. Under the plea agreement, it would pay up to $487 million in fines. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says more than 4 million Americans gouged by credit repair companies will soon collectively receive $1.8 billion in refund checks. The federal agency says the payments make up the biggest distribution yet from its Victims Relief Fund. The fund is financed by civil penalties paid by companies that violate consumer protection laws.
We have those colder temperatures this morning leading to a very chilly start to your Friday. So adding extra time to warm up your car is going to be necessary. Now, you won't have to drive that much slower on roads this morning due to fog, because we're not seeing much in the area. We could see some impacts as you're traveling more towards West Virginia in here a couple hours, but for the most part, we're looking nice and clear this morning. Now, those temperatures are cold, and we could see some maybe icy spots on the road depending on how things were melting the past couple days. So just be careful in case you do encounter some slick spots. But in terms of wind making those temperatures feel colder, luckily there aren't many places not in that calm category. Now, Wise and Pikeville have a little bit faster winds at that 6 mile per hour range. But as we look at satellite and radar, no rain, no snow, just clouds, and they're moving out of our area and leaving for a nice and sunny day. And there you can see that sunshine all day long, with those temperatures warming up very slightly into the mid-30s by the time 3 p.m. rolls around. Madison?
All right, Megan, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Veterans in the Commonwealth are preparing to commemorate Pearl Harbor Day this weekend to honor America's entrance into World War II.